Good morning. How are you doing?
I am really good, thank you. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. And guys, we're back to you on a Sunday morning at 6 a.m. or 6:30 now because we've had a little chat, haven't we?
Yeah.
But yes, we are excited to be back on the podcast. And let us know how your January is going. We hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful start to the year, 2024. We're nearly at the end of January. How was that?
Oh, no, don't. We're squeezing another week in yet. We've got another
Well,
week to
yeah,
go.
technically two. I've got technically
Um,
two. No, probably a week.
no,
Yeah, no, a
no, a
week.
week and a
Week and a
bit.
bit.
A week
Yes.
and a bit. We
Yeah,
can make
week and a
that
bit.
week and a bit work, can't
Yes.
we? Basically, yeah.
So we are here today, guys, to talk to you about where you've been, where we've
Mm,
been, because a lot of our focus on socials and obviously in the club with Dare to Dream, with the retreat, is all forward focused. It's about getting this vision for the year. But a wonderful lady who was on Dare to Dream, who is on Dare to Dream, sorry, we're still running it, um, listened to one of our earlier podcasts and really took something from it that we wanted to kind of reshare. And that was a little thing that I did right in the beginning. And it was one of probably the first self-development-y things that I did without even realizing it. Because I'd not used a laptop for about 4 years because I was in the thick of motherhood. And I remember sitting on this very sofa, getting my husband's laptop out, and it felt alien to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I remember opening a spreadsheet and thinking, how on earth do I do this again? It felt so strange. But what I did was I basically brain dumped my story, my life in a messy, imperfect timeline because I was so stuck in those phases and in that phase. And I just really wanted to just gain some clarity on where I'd been, what I'd done, and just it was something to try and move forward and just gain a bit of understanding. So I basically brain dumped my story on a timeline, where I'd been, what I'd done. And it was really, really important to do that. And I know that this wonderful lady took that from one of our earlier podcasts and did it. And she got a lot from it. She felt like she'd kind of understood herself more and kind of really acknowledged where she'd been. So we just want to break this down today, don't we? And just kind of say that it's amazing to be forward focused and to think about what we want to create in the future, getting that clarity, getting that vision, getting where we're just feeling so good about it inside. But equally, what's really important is to acknowledge where we've been, to understand the strength that we've gained through all that we've been through, and to really start that process off feeling good inside, feeling really just at peace with where we've been and what we've done. So, yeah, we're just going to break this down, aren't we?
We are, and I think what you just said there, Charlotte, in terms of looking back at where we've been and what we've done and challenges we've overcome with peace and also with pride. And
Yes,
I know we
yeah,
reflected on this, sorry, last week's podcast after walking Snowdon,
yeah,
because it was a shift of we didn't reach the top, guys. We made our own summit. If you
yeah,
haven't checked in that podcast, I encourage you to have a listen because we got up to 900 meters and there was 100 more meters to go to the summit. But for various reasons, weather conditions, our guide had to call it at that point. And after kind of, I think Charlotte and I shared a little initial, oh, like,
it is.
oh man, I want to get to the top. It was a shift to looking back down the mountain and going, oh, hold on a minute. Okay, I haven't done the 100 meters,
Yeah,
but I've done that 900. And I think this is kind of a very similar thing. It's like looking back on our life.
yes.
And yes, there will be challenges, of course.
Hmm.
No one's had a smooth path to where they are now. And everyone's challenges are their own and they're
Yeah,
different in many ways, but they're
yeah,
unique and individual to us. And I think, yeah, I just wanted to pick up on what you just said about feeling peaceful with it because we can sometimes hide from the traumas, the challenges. And I think healing is part of the growth process. And I know when you first shared this with me, this self-development tool that, like you said at the time, we really didn't realize you were doing it
I
as a
don't know where it
self-development
came
tool.
from. Just
But when
started
you,
doing something.
yeah, and when you shared it with me, I was like, that is incredible. That honestly is incredible to look back and go, bloody hell, like,
Yeah.
look at me. Look at me.
Yes.
Look at a lot of pain, possibly. Look at a
Mhm.
lot of things that um I've done that, in the moment, or sorry, on a little bit of reflection, you might make your toes curl a little bit, should we say? But
Yeah.
actually, then sit from this perspective and go, well, look at how old I was.
Mhm.
Look at what I had available to me. Look at what I knew then. And actually, I'm going to come from a belief that I did the best with what I had and with what I knew back then. And I
Yeah.
think that's having a newfound compassion. And I think that's when you bring that inner peace in that you're like, did my
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. Well, I said to you, I remember, didn't I? And I spoke about this box a lot. Like, I had this period of my life that I just put in a box and I really didn't want to open. And it just was there, kind of as a bit of a shadow. And like, it was a period of my life, basically, as I started university in those few years where my mum was, my mum got really poorly. And I just ran away from it for many years. And I didn't really understand what she was going through because I chose to just, we're a very kind of keep going family, like keep get on with it and kind of, quite proactive. Um, which is great in many ways, but equally it probably meant that I didn't sit with that and I just kind of, what would I have been then when you go to uni? That's, well, I was one of the youngest, so I'd probably 17. Is that right? Oh no,
18,
18. No,
18,
18. Just
18.
just turn 18. Yeah, of course, because yeah, you can have a drink.
Yeah.
That would have been a bit crazy going at
Yeah.
17, wouldn't it? Yeah, 18. And I just ran away and made a lot of choices in those years that I wasn't happy with. I wasn't, they weren't aligned to who I was. And it didn't start that way. Probably a few years in, kind of just, late nights doing things that I wouldn't do again, just a bit, what's the word? Off on a just, yeah, a bit of a crazy time.
Yeah.
And I just put those few years into a box and I felt really bad. And it still sat with me because when my mum's health is, it's never really got back to, she never got back to full health. And she's had a real struggle over, since then. So it's been years and years. She's had a lot of health things. But there was always guilt surrounding that I didn't fully know what was going on because I chose to run away from it. And what happened in this kind of just timeline was I really, like you say, recognized how old I was,
Mm.
recognized that I was just dealing with it in the best way that I could then. And it didn't have to be a heavy box anymore because I could just see who I was then. And I think sometimes when we've done something that maybe we feel bad about in the past, like we just carry that guilt forward, we carry all of that forward, and that's so heavy. And I'm not saying it's as easy as, just writing a timeline and giving yourself some compassion because it did take, journaling and all these other, tools and techniques. And like you say, it's all our own challenges. And some people may need something else and may need that, talking opportunity with therapy or different things. But I think the timeline is just a really good starting place to see yourself back then and really appreciate what age you were, what you knew then, that you were doing the best with what you could, that you navigated it as well as you could then, And when you kind of see that, like it was just a bit of a, okay, like
Mm.
I did all right. I did the best I could. I didn't make, the best choices, but we're human as well. And do you know what? I think we all make some mistakes around that age, right?
Yeah. And that right there, what you've just shared, is the key thing here when doing this timeline, because it may bring up some stuff that you like I said, make your toes curl, like you've shared, like
Yeah.
there's stuff that you did experiences and situations back when you were 18 that initially you'd be a bit like, oh man,
Yeah.
what a funky decision there. Like,
Yeah.
but it is having that compassion for ourselves and going, I was 18,
Hmm.
I did the best with what I could back then.
Yeah.
And like you say, is that release, is that heavy weight off your shoulders. And yes,
Mm.
again, acknowledging it may take more work and it may be a longer process or, more of a deeper healing process.
Yeah.
But there also is a decision in that moment to go, am I going to keep feeling these guilt feelings or this uneasy feeling
Yeah.
around what I did 20 years ago?
Yeah.
And is that serving me right now,
Yeah.
first of all? Or is it bringing up uneasy things? And am I willing to release myself from that
Yeah.
and
And
maybe go
that's
back
it.
inside and have that conversation with 18-year-old self and
Yeah.
go, Charlotte, it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
and there's advice now that you would give her,
Mm.
knowing what you know now, which is different. Of course it is,
Yeah.
because you're older and wiser and
Yeah.
have more life experiences and you've grown can't say that word.
It's a great word though,
Phenomenally.
isn't it?
But it's different, and I think it's okay to, I don't think, I know it's okay to allow ourselves to be free of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was interesting because actually, when I went back to that timeline, the first thing was when I got dropped off at uni, and my mum dropped me off. And I remember she dropped me off, and I just cried, and I missed home so much. And I had such a deep level of compassion for that Charlotte because she was trying to be strong for a mum, but she didn't really know how to be strong at that age, you know? And I think we almost try to be, I think that's for me where we kind of walk away from that child self, we try and be this person for other people, don't we, from such an early age. And I see it with my girls, like especially Autumn, 7, you know, trying to be something for somebody else. And actually, that is when we're walking away from those true feelings. And I know it was Jules who shared on our kind of New Year's Day podcast that chemically it takes us 90 seconds to process. Sorry, it takes our body 90 seconds to process an emotion.
Mm.
Yet we run away from those emotions and they stay with us. And that was such a moment for me because I
Yeah.
was like, how much running away from emotions have I done all of my life?
Mm.
And that was that. I didn't let myself feel that sadness, that homesickness. It was like, come on, just run away from it, get doing something
Yeah.
else. Like avoid, avoid, avoid. Um, and that was that for many years. And I think that's why it was this box. But now with those eyes, knowing that it takes us 90 seconds, like I feel like last 2023 was my year to be okay with crying. I could genuinely think it
Yeah.
was that year to go, it's okay to cry, Charlotte. It really is. And that changed my life last year because I had some real big challenges. But I let myself just process them rather
Yeah.
than run away from them. And that really changed things. That was before knowing that 90-second thing. But I remember saying to you, I feel like, have I got through this too quick? Again, comparing, like,
Mm. What
of
you think
how I
should be.
should be going through
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
then
yeah, sorry.
I was going to say, just on the emotion side of things, I love that because I always used to see myself as being too emotional, it's
Yes.
like a bad thing.
Yeah, I was
And
too sensitive. That was
yeah,
mine.
there we
Yeah.
go. I love this. And like you grow into it, don't you? Like, and now it's actually my superpower. Yeah. I'm like,
Yes.
I love that I'm too emotional. I was watching America's Got Talent with the kids last night. I was bawling. I was
Those
crying.
programs get me every time. I'm like, why am I crying at strangers
Yeah.
singing? But I'm like,
Yeah. Most of the Disney films, I'll cry at those. But like, I love being two.
yeah,
There's no such thing as being two anything, is there? But
yeah,
I love that I'm living that I feel all the emotions. But
yeah,
at a younger age, it can be seen as something that we should shy away from. And I just love that you shared that, last year was a year where you've gone, actually, it's okay to cry because
yeah,
let that emotion pass rather than hold it
yeah,
in because we hold it in our bodies then physically, mentally. And it's there to be worked through. It's there to be released. So if ever I see
Yeah.
anyone crying and they apologize to me, I'm like,
Yes.
please do not apologize ever for
Yeah.
feeling your emotions.
Yes.
Allow them, let them through because this is part of the process.
Yeah. And it's interesting with the crying because I instantly, it's like I try and swallow it.
Oh,
And literally, it gets a lump in my throat.
yeah.
And you know, when you actually, this is all awareness, isn't it? But it was quite a moment for me where I was like, oh my gosh, I've done this all my life. It's like, even if I'm trying to cry, I don't let myself fully cry.
Yeah.
And like, I feel it in my, and this is all, body awareness and everything, isn't it? When we have another brilliant podcast about that, haven't we? Um, But yeah, I just swallow it and it's there. It's going back in. And you get
Oh,
now I can feel and I'm like, oh, let it out, Charlotte. Let it
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Ugly
Ugly
cry.
cry,
Get
yeah,
it.
snort,
Yeah.
dribble,
Do all the
embrace it
things.
all. Yeah,
But I remember I've
absolutely.
had many Zooms with you where I've cried and you're
Yeah,
like, let it out.
yeah,
Let it
yeah. I
out.
just sit and watch you, don't I? It's like,
Yes.
come on, keep it going, keep rolling, keep rolling. Like, let's
No
do it.
swallowing. No
No
swallowing.
swallowing, let it all out.
And
And you know,
actually, this is a big shout out to Mel, so I'm in Nantwich, Cheshire. If anyone is in Nantwich, Cheshire, to check out Mel's 9D breathwork, and I'll link it because I'm dying to take you, Kat.
yes, desperate to
Um,
go.
and yeah, I'll pop it in the show notes. She does them at Yoga K Studio and also in Crewe, I think, as well. And she's got her own studio, her own little space as well. The Zen Den, the Zen
Then,
Den.
then,
Um, and that was such a moment for me because you release emotion at a certain part. And I felt for the first time really safe to do that.
mm,
Um, and you have headphones on, you feel like you're in your own world. Obviously, you've been through hypnosis and different things, but you let it out. And it was the first time there was no swallowing involved. And I was like, that was really
yeah,
transformational. So I will link that because
yes,
I think that's
definitely.
key. And I was actually sat next to an incredible lady who I just spoke to about it before, which was really, when you're just like, I'm like, thank you, universe. I needed to speak to her
Mhm.
first. And like that also made me feel wonderfully safe because she was like, I'm just getting through this as well and just being able to kind of express these emotions. And I think that's, in the world we live in today, we've all spent so long not feeling our feelings that it's taken us so far away from who we truly are, how we're truly feeling. We're masked in the shoulds of, I should feel this way, I should be this way. And it's like, let's strip all that back. Let's
Yeah,
just be who we are, feel how we feel, and then see how different life can be.
yeah, yeah. It's like a cleanse as well, isn't it?
Mm,
When you release it, and I know obviously
yeah.
being female as well, certain times of the month we
Yes.
may feel certain emotions. And I know I definitely have times where I'm like, I have no idea why I want to cry. Like,
Yes. Yeah,
but
but you
I'm
just
not
want
going
to
to hold it back
cry.
and I'm just going to cry. And my husband
Yes.
will be like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I love you so much, but please don't ask me what's wrong because I can't tell you right now.
Yeah.
But I'm just, just hold me in this space because I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
And let's
Oh,
just
I love
let's just
that.
let it out. Like
Yeah.
let's just and we'll have a little cuddle and he'll hold me and he'll be like, I don't know what's going on here. Have I done something wrong? Am I missing something? I'm like, look, we're cool. We're cool.
Yeah, just need to.
I just need to let it out because I know if I hold this inside, I feel like a boiling kettle if I hold it
Yes.
inside. That's the way I can describe myself. Though, if I don't let it out,
Yes.
those emotions are just simmering like like a kettle just constantly on that boiling point. So it's better to just pour the tears into the cup. There we go.
Yeah. But as well, kind of voicing that, I think that's so powerful.
Yeah.
Like, and just not having to have a reason.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do just want to cry. And actually, that's just really great because it's knowing what you need in those moments. And like, you don't want to have to explain it,
Yeah.
but you want to be accepted to be able to do that
Yes.
and yourself, but also to voice that is really amazing. And I know I feel like I've been on this shit. I remember saying to my husband a few years ago when I was trying to just voice what I wanted and needed, but I found it really tough because again, I'm not a people pleasing to the max the majority of my life. never think about me, never really see myself as an actual person. It's like
Mm,
put everybody else first, like you don't matter. Um, and I said to him, I was like, I feel like, because he'd always say to me, I'm not a mind reader.
mm,
Like, I've just said that to me so much when you kind of, things like you say, boiling kettle, things are simmering and simmering, simmering, and they come out and they wouldn't come out in the right way because I couldn't understand them myself.
mm.
So this journey has almost been about understanding my needs and feelings and stuff first, so that then we can voice them and actually get the point across of what we're trying to say. But I remember in the beginning days, I was like, can I just blurt stuff out to you and you just not take offense? Because I can't quite voice what I need and it's not coming across in the right way that I want right now. And again, he was really understanding for that because I was like, I want to not be, expecting you to read my mind anymore. I don't really know how I feel and what I'm trying to say sometimes.
Do you
So
know
it's
what?
going
I
to be
love that.
messy.
I
It's
love that.
yeah. And I was like, and I had this conversation with him again recently because I was like, can I be that for you? Because I
Mm,
feel like equally over this past few years, he's been trying to be the strong one. And I was like, I could see them bubbling up for him a bit. And I was like, I'm there to be that for you because I felt like I wasn't really being that for him, if I'm honest, because I'm used to him being the strong one. So yeah, that was a
That's
real,
That's really great. And that just highlights the importance of communication in any relationships, whether it's, a partner in that way, whether it's a friendship, any
yeah,
relationship where you can just, when you can't articulate, but you can still communicate.
yeah,
So literally you can say, I don't know, I'm still working through how I feel and what it is I want to say, but can I just voice in a safe space without
yeah,
any judgment, without any arguing, without any
yeah,
anything while I
mm,
work through it. And I think the process that you've just shared, that you went through to get there as well is really key because that's the inner work, that's growth.
mm,
And that's you going, okay, not sure what I'm feeling here, not sure what I want to articulate. I'm kind of not sure what my needs are. So I'm
mm,
going to work through using some tools to kind of figure that out. And
yeah,
I'm going to communicate it as well to help me get that clearer. And the
yeah,
tool I know you will have absolutely used will be journaling.
yeah,
And it is
absolutely.
asking yourself those literal questions. How am
Yeah.
I feeling?
What do
What do
I
I
need?
want? What do I
Yeah,
need?
yeah,
And just explore it. And that's a safe space that if you feel like you maybe don't have somebody in your environment at the moment where you can start to voice things in this way and
yeah,
communicate in this way, that's okay too, because you can do so much for yourself initially by just asking these questions on a page
yeah,
and just seeing where that goes and the clarity that comes through over time. Yes, it'll be messy
yeah,
at first. Yes, it'll be confusing. And
yeah,
that's okay too, because we always say, don't we, like, let's just get detective. Let's just
yeah,
discover what it is. We know there's feelings there and we can't quite clearly
yeah.
understand them. So let's get curious and detective. Nothing's right, nothing's wrong.
No,
Let's just explore.
you've just given me an idea actually that if there isn't that someone that you can do that with, like almost pass this episode onto a friend and buddy up. Because sometimes even with friends, like I know this, like we still mask how we're really feeling to try, I mean, obviously we have those, friends that we can feel like we can say anything to. But personally, what I found is you still try and you don't want to put everything on them. Do you know what I mean? And you'll still hold back and things. So almost having that buddy, self-discovery buddy to
Love that.
actually say, can we just understand these feelings and this stuff together? Because it is so powerful. And I think when we understand what is truly going on inside, oh my gosh, we gain so much power back. And we just gain so much more compassion for ourselves. And I think for me, what was happening with my people pleasing was I was starting to build resentment and this inner frustration because I was wanting to move forward, but I couldn't get through the people pleasing. And I was feeling resentful. But when I look back, they were all my own choices. This is key in taking responsibility. It's hard to look back and go, okay, but we are not the sum of our circumstances. We are the sum of our choices. And I say that with so much love and compassion because it gets you your power back and you can go, right, I'm going to choose differently from here on out. And that has been incredible. Like even having that conversation with my husband, because we were at a point where resentment was building, if I'm honest. I was not able to get that out. And so I was like, oh, come on, just understand me. But if I don't understand me, how can I expect you to understand me? And it was such a moment of, okay, I need to do this differently. How can I voice it? Um,
And
so
making that decision
mm,
is, like you said, it might feel a bit icky at first to go,
yeah,
I I made that choice.
yeah,
It is the most empowering thing you will ever do for yourself.
yeah,
It
mm,
truly is, because you can go, I made that decision.
yeah,
Would I do it again? Yes, no, maybe, whatever that answer is. And if it's a no, that is okay,
yeah,
because that's your growth, that's your awareness,
yeah,
and that's you going, I'll do something different next time. And I'll
yeah,
take any learnings from it. And that's the
yes,
shift from I didn't fail. I learned. I learned how not to do it. Like, how many
yes.
times do we learn how not to do things
That's a
until we learn
powerful
how to do
move.
it?
Yeah.
And that's a powerful move. And I know we've had many coaching sessions between us in the past where we've posed this question to each other: who, who decided, like, who made that choice?
Yes.
And that's
Yeah. That
when
was
we
one of,
go,
yeah. Oh my
yeah,
gosh. That was one of the things that you said was such an aha moment for me, guys, because I was in major kind of like victim, blame, complain mode. And you said it was such compassion again, but you were like, who made that decision? I was like, me.
me. And it was with compassion and it was with love.
Yeah, it really
And I
was, but
and
it
I
was
think it,
exactly what I needed.
yeah, because once we go, okay, because for so long I've externally blamed the situation, the person, the environment, the da da da, the da da da, for what happened.
Mhm.
But the one that made that decision was actually me. The decision
Yeah.
to stay, the decision to do the thing, the decision to not do the thing.
Yeah.
So when we recognize that, it
Mm.
truly is the most empowering thing, because we
Yeah.
can move forward with that. We have that awareness. We can
Yes.
choose something different.
Yeah. We
I
really
love
can.
how we started off with a timeline and we're
I know.
here. This is the fun, this is the joyous part of doing a podcast. And we're like, yeah, let's just roll with it. So just to kind of revisit that
Yes.
timeline,
Yeah.
it's the most wonderful thing to do, because you
Hmm.
get to see how far you've come. You
Yes.
get to see all the challenges that have happened in your life, all your resilience building, the things you've overcome. And also you get to look back and go, look how frigging amazing I am as well. Look at
Yeah.
all my achievements, look at all my
Yeah.
successes.
Hmm.
And there'll be so much in there. It'll be like an up and down, in and out, backwards, forwards, because that's what our
Yes.
journey is. It's not a linear, straightforward line. There will always be things that we can and cannot control. There'll always be things that are brought to us
Yes.
for us to learn from and grow from. There's so much we can control in ourselves,
Yeah.
but other people, experiences, there's so much we can't.
Yeah.
And I think recognizing that is okay. So it's a beautiful, beautiful tool to do, isn't it?
Yeah. I was just going to go into a bit more of the, I know we never get stuck in the how, but the how, because
Okay.
to just say, right, a timeline, you can think, I don't even know where to start. And
Start, yeah.
actually, how I did it was I wrote from 1989 when I was born. I just wrote the dates, and I haven't filled in every year, guys, as well, because I didn't need to personally, because,
Yeah.
some years you might not remember what happened, but it was imperfect, it was messy. And I just started filling. This is why I think I used a spreadsheet, because I felt like it was easier to kind of, I think I did all the dates, so not dates, years down
Yes,
the
yeah.
side, and then just added in what had happened in that year.
Okay.
So it didn't start, and this is what's beautiful about it. It wasn't a linear thing of when I was. I mean, I didn't really remember what happened when I was born either, but it was just, the act of having something to fill in the dots. And I just started to fill in what had happened in the beginnings. And it might not have even been perfect, as in I'd not remembered the exact year. But you could just, so I want to say, approach this with imperfection, and just, it's about just mapping out and seeing where you've been. So that kind of having those years just as a guide to the
Mm.
side, and then just connecting the dots was really, really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, it
So
doesn't
yeah,
have to be in order. Like, you don't have to
no,
start from your birth year. Like, start
yeah,
from when you were 15, or start from when you're 33, or when you're 8.
yes,
And it's interesting what comes up as well, isn't it? Like, it could be all sorts of
yeah.
things.
And I did it over a few nights as well, where I just kept revisiting it, or I'd think, oh, I'm just going to put that back on. And personally, I haven't looked at it since. It was that awareness in that moment that I was trying to find it before here because it was on this laptop, but I can't remember what I called it. There's so many files on here now. I'm like, oh, um, but it was that awareness, that compassion building, that seeing how many times I'd got back up again, because we can so easily look back at our lives and count how many times we've fallen. But actually, let's see how many times we've got back up again, because that will surprise you and that will drive you forwards where you can just say, do you know what? I'm doing all right. I've done all right. And I'm going to go and create an incredible future as the person that I now know I am. You know, I needed to forgive myself for a few things. I needed to just hold that space, see who I was at that age, hold that, compassion, but then bring all those selves forward as well and go, right, okay, we now know we have a choice. How do we want the rest of our life to be? So it was so powerful in so many ways. And we would love to know, guys, if you give this a go, let us know how you get on. We love to chat to you guys. We really, really do. And we are here to help as well. So if you have any questions, just ping them over to us at hello@theauthenticgirlsclub.com or on socials as well at The Authentic Girls Club. We're Instagram is our probably main handle, isn't it? So send us a DM at any time. And also grab yourself a buddy, or whether it's your husband, whether it's a friend, grab yourself a buddy for that kind of that building of understanding those needs as well. Oh, there was a lot in that
Amazing.
episode, wasn't
Yeah,
there? We had
yeah,
ping ponged, but in a wonderful way.
yes. And you've ran that off just perfectly.
Amazing. Brilliant.
Oh,
Thank you
so
so
great to
much,
chat. And
guys.
we'll
Yes.
speak to you soon, guys. Take
Yes.
care.
Speak to you soon. Lots of love.
Bye.
Bye.